Plans built for life.
Hello and welcome. I am not Chris Burns. I am Eric Erickson filling in for Chris Burns today. You can call in and chat with me, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. I tell you guys all the time on my show, Chris actually is my financial advisor and a friend, and he wasn't able to get here today, and he's been having to drive down to my house actually to broadcast his show because all the stuff we've got going on at the station, and couldn't make it, so asked if I would step behind the microphone. Glad to do it, and glad to spend time with you on calls. Also, you can engage with me on social media, and I'm not going to give you financial advice. I will tell you, if you want financial advice, go to dynamicmoney.com. That's Chris's website. He literally is a friend and my financial advisor, and has given my wife and me great financial advice, teaching us how to budget, helping us refi our house and cash out to pay off some debts and all. And so I really am a customer, in addition to a friend. Now, I want to spend time taking your calls this hour on what's going on with the state and the nation. You heard in the newscast, the president has accepted a request from the governor to do a disaster declaration. So federal assistance will be coming in to help Georgia. The governor continues to be attacked here in the state for not shutting down the entire state. Some states are shutting down, some states are not. Let me give you the overall projections we have right now dealing with this viral situation. 125,313 cases in the United States, 2,197 deaths. For a contrast here, though, look at Italy, 92,472 with 10,023 deaths. Pretty staggering. Now, I don't believe the Chinese number, and you shouldn't believe the Chinese number either. Because when you look at Western countries that have better healthcare systems, they're faring worse than what China claims, some doing better. I mean, look at Germany, 58,247 cases, but only 455 deaths. Spain has 78,797, but 6,606 deaths. And here in the United States, 125,000 cases and 2,100 deaths. Now, let me give you the audit trail for the state of Georgia as well. There are right now in the state of Georgia 2,651 cases of COVID-19, 666 hospitalizations, and 80 deaths. That's a 3% mortality rate for those who get the virus. Here's the audit trail for county by county. 407 Fulton, 272 DeKalb, 239 Darty, 222 Cobb, 143 Gwinnett, 119 Bartow, 64 Carroll, 59 Clayton, 56 Cherokee, 55 Henry, 43 Lee, 37 Douglas, 35 Clark, 32 Hall, 27 Floyd, 26 Fayette, 25 Forsyth, 23 Paulding, 22 Coweta, 20 in Lowndes, 18 in Rockdale, 17 in Newton, 16 in Early, 15 in each of these, Chatham, Houston, Mitchell, and Sumter, 14 in Gordon, 13 in Bibb, 13 in Tift, 12 in Columbia, Richmond, and Spalding, 11 in Oconee, 10 in Polk, Terrell, and Worth, 9 in Lawrence and Troop, 8 in Coffee, Glen, Muskogee, and Whitfield, 7 in Barrow, Bryan, and Thomas, 6 in Colquitt, Crisp, and Peach, 5 in each of these, Butts, Meriwether, Pickens, Upson, Walton, and Ware, 4 in Burke, Decatur, Effingham, I'm sorry, they'll get mad at me, Lumpkin, and Miller, 3 in Calhoun, Catoosa, Fanning, Irwin, Liberty, Lincoln, Madison, Monroe, Murray, Pulaski, Randolph, Seminole, and Stevens County, 2 in Baldwin, Ben Hill, Camden, Dawson, Franklin, Harrelson, Harris, Jackson, Jasper, Jones, Lamar, Pierce, Pike, Tatnall, Turner, Twiggs, and Washington, and then 1 in each of these. Bacon, Baker, Brooks, Bullock, Candler, Charlton, Chattahoochee, Chattooga, Clinch, Dodge, Green, Hart, Hurd, Jenkins, Long, Macon, McDuffie, Morgan, Taylor, Toombs, Wheeler, White, Wilkes, and 262 in unknown counties. There are about a quarter of the counties left that have, actually less than a quarter of the counties that don't have it. The bulk of it is in the metro area, which is why things are shut down. Now, if you got questions about the stimulus, or you got questions about the strategies moving forward, you got questions about what's going on around the country, I'm happy to take them. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Let us go to Carla in DeKalb. Welcome to the Chris Burns Show.
Hi there. I am hoping you explain how the fact that we can't just print money,
right?
That we have to back it up with something? I'm sorry, there was a delay.
No, that's okay.
If you could explain how that part works, that we can't just print money and that's okay, that it has to be backed up. I don't understand that. You mentioned it in your show the other day.
Yeah, okay. So
Thank you.
I'll make it. Let me see if I can explain. This goes back to the Roman era. So let me give you some history. Back during Rome, they had a crisis in the 2nd century or in the 3rd century. They had a series of bad emperors, and money began to be devalued. They were paying people with silver and gold, and they started mixing money, other metals in to make it more reasonable for Rome to be able to pay soldiers and whatnot. And it began to devalue the currency because they were cheapening the coin. And as they produced more coins, inflation ran amok. Now, let me explain it to you this way. Let's say you want to, my neighbor across the street from me is a doctor, and he bought himself a McLaren. And let's say you want a McLaren. Let's say you want a $100,000 McLaren. Well, it takes you a lot of time to save up $100,000, does it not? And so the McLaren is worth $100,000. Now, let's say the government gives every American $100,000. What does that do to the McLaren? Well, it's a supply and demand issue because everybody has $100,000 now. Everyone can run out and buy a McLaren. But a McLaren was $100,000 when hardly anybody could buy it. Now that everybody can buy it, suddenly the McLaren is going to be worth $1.5 million. Because they want to keep it out of one, they can't manufacture enough of them. So there's a demand and supply issue. And 2, they want it to be exclusive. So if everybody's now making $100,000, everybody can go out and buy a McLaren. So now McLaren is going to jack their price up to $1.5 million to, again, keep it out of reach of people, but also to maintain supply and demand. It's a total supply and demand issue. As more and more as you print more and more money, the value of each individual dollar goes down. It doesn't shrink. Your dollar is not suddenly 50 cents. No, it just means that the prices of everything else rise as more and more Americans have that money. So it causes an inflationary event because there's a supply and demand issue. Remember, as the supply of money grows out in the public, what then happens? Your demand for things can grow because you can now buy stuff. Well, the net result is that the prices of those things you want to buy increase to match the rate of money that's now in circulation. I hope this makes sense to you. If everybody suddenly has $100,000, your $100,000 cannot buy you what $100,000 bought you last week. And the reason is because all the things that you could have bought last week now suddenly skyrocket in price to keep up with the demand. Now that everybody has the money. What we do, though, now there are a lot of people who want to return to the gold standard. I'm not necessarily opposed to returning to the gold standard. Back before World War II, by and large, countries matched their value of their currency based to the amount of gold they had in reserve. So for every dollar, you had to have a dollar worth of gold. Well, after World War II, we switched to something called fiat currency, where everyone got together. We started this exchange rate system, and everybody had a benchmark for what their money was worth. And countries could come together in a treaty and change what their money is worth. But nobody's going to do that right now. There is this new economic model that's being pushed by the left, modern monetary something or other. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, and others are pushing this idea that the government can give everybody $1 billion and then they can rearrange the system in order to keep inflation from happening. That's essentially what they want, is you can just print money willy-nilly, give it to people, and then you can exchange government savings and government bonds to reduce the inflation that would happen. This is you got a bunch of communists and socialists who believe that, but no one else in the real world wants to believe that, or it's not even a matter of wanting to believe that. It's a matter of can't believe it because it's funny math and it doesn't work. You got to be real careful there. That gives us a problem, though, with the stimulus plan. The government has just released this $2.2 trillion stimulus plan. I want to take you through what the stimulus plan does. I also want you to know, if you're a small business now, the government does now have a business website for you. It's for individuals and small businesses. The website is disasterloan.sba.gov. disasterloan.sba.gov. If you are a small business or an individual, a homeowner or an individual, and you need low interest loans to help cover payroll and the like, you can go to disasterloan.sba.com. They will link you with the disaster loan application for economic injury, home loans, sole proprietor loans that gives you all the details. Now, other assistance will be rolling out here very shortly from the federal government in compliance with the stimulus. You're probably wondering what all is in the stimulus. Well, when we come back, I will do what I'm sure Chris Burns would do if he were here. I'll walk you through the portions of the stimulus so you get a sense of what's in there and how it will affect you individually, and if you're a small business owner, how it will affect you. I'll also take your calls, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. It is Erick Erickson here, yes, but this isn't my show. This is the Chris Burns Show.
The Chris Burns Show. Money made personal. 217.
I am not Chris Burns. I am Eric Erickson filling in for Chris Burns, taking your phone calls 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. By the way, if you text the word data to 33777, I'm going to send you back 3 links. One is to the Georgia audit of where the virus is spreading in the state. The second link is to the Johns Hopkins University dashboard of how it's spreading globally. The third one, and this is new, I just put it in here during the commercial break. The Chamber of Commerce, the United States Chamber of Commerce, has prepared a guide for small businesses on how they can get payroll loan relief from the federal government that rolls into a grant. I want to explain that to you, how this actually works. A small business has fewer than 500 employees. It otherwise meets size or who's an independent contractor or self-employed. You've got a number of options to go through banks probably starting Wednesday to meet payroll. You can borrow up to 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost, up to $10 million. And if you're a small business and you use those loans to maintain your payroll and you don't buy the federal government will pay off the rest of the loan for you. If you want to look through that guide from the Chamber of Commerce, text the word data to 33777. Let's answer some questions, though, right now. Trish in Mableton, you're going to be first on the Chris Burns Show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I have 2 questions. They're a little different. A multi-million-dollar company in Austin, Texas yesterday that is going to make their employees sign a piece of paper saying that they'll take a 0 paycheck if they take the stimulus checks they're supposed to send out. Is that even legal?
The second one, no, they can't do that, company. The other one on GM, the reason is because GM said they were going to manufacture the ventilators, and they offered up a price at which they were going to manufacture the ventilators and then upped the price. And so the president used the Defense Procurement Act and ordered General Motors to make the ventilators at the price General Motors originally said they were going to make them at. That's my understanding. Don't hold me to that, arguing the president needed to use the DPA, the Defense Procurement Act, and he had already done so. And kudos to members of the media for correcting him. Let's see. Got about a minute before the break. Let me see if I can get to James in Lawrenceville. Welcome. James, you there?
Oh.
We got about a minute.
Yes, I got a question.
Okay.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, if we've been off the gold standard since, I think, 72, how is the money they've been printing ever since then holding its value?
Oh, great question. World War II, and then by the 1970s, what is it? What do they call it now? I can't remember the name of the treaty. But essentially, every government agreed to set the value of their currency. And so there was an international agreement, and currency from that moment has been based on the baseline of that agreement as to what money would be worth. This is one reason, frankly, I avoid Bitcoin and the like, because at any moment the government could snap their finger and say it's worth nothing. And some governments are beginning to do that since.
5.
We'll be back.
Can't get enough of Chris.
It is Eric Erickson here. This is the Chris Burns Show, though. It's not mine. I'm filling in for Chris today. And I'm not going to give you personal consumer financial advice. I actually pay Chris Burns for that. He's a friend, but he's also planning and how to refi our house and get some money out to pay off debts. He does all that sort of stuff. And I highly recommend him. And you should go to dynamicmoney.com. I don't say that just because I'm filling in for him. He actually is the guy my wife and I turn to, and we struck up a friendship. And here I am now filling in for him on a Sunday afternoon here in Atlanta, taking your phone calls, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Just a sole proprietor or an independent contractor who lives off 1099 money. The Chamber of Commerce has put together a very helpful guide to explain to you how you can navigate the stimulus package loan program and grant program. If you want it, text the word data to 33777. I will send you back a text immediately, and it'll have the link to all the Georgia. Text the word data to 33777 to get it. And if you do that, you don't get anything back other than that text message with those links. So now back to the phones we go here on the Chris Burns Show. Darren on the East Side, welcome.
Hey, Eric. I had a question for you regarding the stimulus checks.
Okay.
My oldest daughter graduated college, was not working to file a 2018. If they're going to do a direct deposit from their 2018 tax return, will she still be eligible for the $1,200 somehow?
Great question. They actually amended it at the last minute. So it is your most recent tax filing is what applies. So if she filed her 2019, they will look at her 2019. If you didn't file your 2019 but filed 2018, that's what they'll look at. But it's either 2018 or 2019, whichever's already. So it pays to file your taxes early because if she's already done that, then she's good.
Absolutely. That's a critical group that's just joining the working force right now. So it's nice if they're unemployed that they do have a little bit of extra resources coming in.
Definitely so. Thanks very much. With the checks that people are going to be able to get here, under the plan, Americans will receive $1,200. Married couples will get $2,400. Parents will receive $500 for each additional child under the age of 17, but the payments will begin to phase out. It's based on adjusted gross income on your taxes, and will phase out up to 90 gross income. That is your income minus all your deductions and credits and things, or deductions and exemptions on your taxes. And they'll look at your most recently filed one, but it's got to be either 2018 or 2019. If you did not file taxes for 2019. Now, some people have a question. My situation's changed. I need to file my 2019 taxes to reflect it. I think that's too late, but please talk to an actual accountant, not me on that. But my understanding based on what I've read in the Wall Street Journal is that it's based on what you've already filed as opposed to what you're going to file. Now, back to the phones. Eric in Alpharetta, you're next. Welcome.
Hey, Eric. How are you today?
Great. How about yourself?
Great. Thank you. Hey, I got a quick question. I'm of the thought, and, some other people that I talk to, that the Chinese government has some responsibility in this. There's only a couple of roads that go in and out of Wuhan. And I know right now that's probably, not on the first thing on Trump's mind, but, down the road when this thing passes, are we going to be able to, go after that?
I don't know. It's going to have to be more than us. China's going around right now, and they're basically dumping money in a bunch of affected countries. A number of countries, China dumped COVID-19 tests on a bunch of countries. And pay attention to this because this is actually really important to the narrative that we have more cases than they do. China dumped a bunch of COVID-19 tests on a bunch of countries, Italy and Spain among them, Costa Rica and several others. And guess what? Turns out that the tests miss 80% of the cases. So if these are the tests that China has been doing itself, it makes you wonder whether or not the situation in China is contained. And there are some warning signs in China that it hasn't been contained. They've shut back down movie theaters and large gatherings in China. Makes you wonder what exactly is going on over there. And, of course, they're not going to tell anybody because they're communists. The phone number here at the Chris Burns Show, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Again, if you text the word data, just D-A-T-A, text that word to the number 33777. I'll send you back the link to the Chamber of Commerce guide for small businesses, sole proprietors, and independent contractors. Susan in Atlanta, you're going to be next. Welcome.
Hey there. Thank you for having me. I wanted to ask, I rent at an apartment complex, and is something in the stimulus package for me as a renter? And my other question is, there's so much going on. Well, go ahead and answer that one. I don't want to hold up.
No.
Thank you so much.
That's okay, Susan. Sure. There are some provisions about foreclosures and dispossessing mortgages and finances of the landlord. So if the landlord is financing the property with federal-backed mortgages, then things apply. If he's not, things don't apply. In a lot of cases, though, there are local governments that are providing relief. There's not per se renter relief in the package that I know of. And they are thinking, however, of another round of packages specifically for mortgages and rents. So we're looking at probably, we'll be on the fourth package soon, and they're looking at a fifth already. And a lot of these things are under consideration. How do you help people who they can't go to work, so they can't pay their rent or the show? Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Welcome to the Chris Burns Show.
Yes.
Alex, do you have a question?
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes. Observation about a remark to a young lady that called in early about supply and demand and pricing, and you gave an example of a McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to comment on that.
Go for it.
It was a little misleading. I'm afraid it gave the impression to your listeners that as a seller, as a business, we're just out to take advantage of a market exchange of a stock market or commodities market. But in a country like America, where we have a long tradition of fairness and honesty, prices of retail products are determined by supply, demand, and cost. That was a figure you didn't enter in. As a producer of that McLaren sells that car to hire more employees, and his prices are typically going to go up. And he's not going to try to sell that car for $500,000. He's going to base his pricing on his cost and typical markup, because he feel like they've been gouged and taken advantage of over another.
Alex, look,
So
I think
really
that's fair, and I was trying to do the nutshell version, but yes, you're right. I mean, his costs are going to go up, and because it's a supply and demand issue. If we've all got $100,000 now, so we can all go buy it, he's got to raise his price, because his price is going to go up to everything else. When he's getting in more, the demand is going to go up for his parts, and so the supply is going to go down, and so the prices are going to go up. I took the shortcut. Maybe I shouldn't have. I appreciate you adding to it there. Let's go to Todd in Atlanta. Todd, welcome.
He's got to raise his price because his price.
See if I can come back to Todd later. He is listening on a delay, I can tell. Mark and Jackson, you're going to be next on the Chris Burns Show. Welcome.
Hey, Eric, first caller. First-time caller. Got a question. I've got a grown dependent that I filed income taxes with last year.
That she will, because of the way the language in the stimulus is structured for 17 and under. I haven't seen any press reports on that. Don't hold me to it, but my understanding is it's $500 per dependent under the age of 18. They may have something in there, though, Mark, that just hasn't gotten reported, that has flown under the radar in that issue. Leo in Dallas, you're going to be next on the Chris Burns Show.
Yes, thank you, Eric. First of all, you're a patriot. You're doing a great job for us here.
Thank you.
As you may know, 100% disabled veteran doesn't pay federal taxes, and also the Social Security disability veterans don't pay federal tax either. So what are they going to get as far as this economic help?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Let me see here. I
haven't heard anything
Yeah, and I'm scanning now. There's a military benefits website that breaks this down, and I'm scanning it real quick. And let's see. It is. Let's see. You've got the $1,200 for tax filers, but for veterans receiving benefits in the Department of Veterans Affairs for VA disability benefits, pension, or survivors benefits, will be treated the same as those receiving Social Security disability, or SSI benefits, and do not qualify for stimulus checks. For instance, a veteran whose only income is veterans disability payment is eligible as long as they are not dependent on veterans disability. Then you will be eligible for a payment from the federal government under the text of the loan. Seniors who receive Social Security and Social Security disability payments will receive a stimulus check as well. Individuals with $0 of income are eligible for the check so long as they are not that of their parents will qualify. Generally, full-time college students under the age of 24 is considered a dependent. If not a dependent, they will qualify there as well. That's useful information for folks. Now, I want to try to keep taking as many calls as I can, but to do that, I got to do good on the clock management, so I need to go out and take a commercial break. It is Erick Erickson filling in for Chris Byrne. It is the Chris Burns Show, and I am Eric Erickson filling in for Chris Burns today. Let's see if I can round out the phones here. We don't have a ton of time, so let's all be expeditious with our phone calls. Amanda in Canton, you're going to be next on the Chris Burns Show. Welcome.
Hey, Eric. The wording of this has me confused. I have a 17-year-old that's still in high school, and I did claim...
It's under the age of 18, so yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Eric. Have a great day.
You too. Remember, if you text the word data to 33777, I will send you back the U.S. Chamber of Commerce information for individual sole proprietors, small businesses, and 501c3s and 1099 contractors. There's a lot of information you may have questions about, and the Chamber has a great brochure on it. I'll send you that if you text data to 33777. And I'm going to Alex in Duluth. Welcome.
Issue. I lost my part-time job, which was a restaurant job that I used to make like between $400 to $1,000 a month. The other job is still full-time. I still work there, and the restaurant filed unemployment for all the employees because obviously everybody, had to be cut, so to say. And so, do I qualify to get some kind of unemployment from the Department of Labor?
Eligible for unemployment, but the federal government has boosted the amount of payment to employees who are out of work because of COVID-19 and extended the benefits.
So even though I have a full-time job already?
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you said. Alex, you probably need to talk to your employer at your full-time job. But my sense is that you will not be. Remember, text the word data to 33777 so you can get that information. And it is the Chris Burns Show. You can always check Chris out at dynamicmoney.com. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow evening here on WSB.
All right, you're clear, sir.
Thank you, sir.